Welcome to AI Paper Drop. I'm Alex.
And I'm Maya. What if the answer you get from an AI depends less on the intelligence of the model and more on whether you are using a website or a developer tool? What if the same AI could call a piece of pseudoscience complete nonsense on a web page, but rate it as highly credible if you accessed it through a backdoor API?
That sounds like a glitch, or maybe just a weird edge case. I mean, we expect some variance, right?
Exactly.
We usually think of an LLM as this consistent, giant library of knowledge. You ask a question, it scans its training data, and it gives you the most likely answer based on the facts it knows.
Right, like a digital encyclopedia that just happens to be really good at chatting.
But this paper suggests that the library is actually a black box with a dozen different sets of curtains. Depending on which door you walk through, the librarian might tell you the truth, or they might tell you something completely different because of a hidden setting you cannot see.
Wait, so you were saying the model itself is not the only thing deciding the answer? There's something else happening in the background?
Exactly.
It is called deployment configuration. Think of it as the invisible wrapper around the AI. It includes things like system prompts, safety filters, and interface routing. And the researchers found that these wrappers can fundamentally change whether an AI validates a lie or tells the truth.
That is a huge problem, because most of us just go to a website and trust the output. We assume we are talking to the model, not a filter version of the model.
Precisely.
And the stakes are not just about whether the AI gets a trivia fact wrong. The researchers specifically looked at ethno-nationalist pseudoscience. We are talking about claims that use a fake scientific framework to justify racial or national superiority.
Okay, so they wanted to see if the AI would play along with these claims or shut them down. How do they actually test this?
They treated the AI models like witnesses in a courtroom. They took 4 major families: Claude, Grok, GPT, and Gemini. They gave them prompts based on this pseudoscience and asked the models to rate the credibility of the claims.
So they were looking for a consistency check. Like, does the witness tell the same story every time?
Exactly. But they did not just ask once. They checked across different time periods and, crucially, different interfaces. They compared the web chat version that users see with the API version that developers use. If the model actually knew the science was fake, it should have rated it low across the board, regardless of the interface.
That makes sense. If I know 2 plus 2 is 4, it does not matter if I'm texting you or writing on a chalkboard. It is still 4.
Right.
So if the answer changed based on the interface, it proves that the model's inherent knowledge was being overridden by the deployment settings. It is like the librarian was being told to lie depending on who asked the question.
So what happened? Did they all hold the line against the pseudoscience?
Mostly. But Grok was a total outlier. The fast versions of Grok, which are the ones powering the default experience on X, consistently gave these pseudoscientific claims high credibility scores. We are talking 70 to 75 out of 100.
Wait, 75? That is practically a thumbs up. What about the other models?
The others were way lower, between 15 and 40. But here's where it gets wild. The researchers found this thing they call a silent patch.
A silent patch? Like a stealth update?
Exactly.
At first, Grok's responses were chaotic. It was all over the place. Then, overnight, without any public announcement or documentation, the behavior changed. It suddenly became stably high. It just locked into validating this pseudoscience.
Okay, that is actually wild. You mean some engineer or some automated process just flipped a switch, and suddenly the AI is telling millions of people that this fake science is actually credible?
And it gets even weirder. They found one specific model identifier where the API gave a credibility score of 75, but the web interface for the exact same model gave it a 5.5.
A 70-point difference? For the same model? How is that even possible?
It means the web version had a safety layer or a system prompt that was screaming, "No, do not believe this," while the API version was just wide open, letting the model lean into the bias. It is the same brain, just different muzzles.
I'm curious about the other models. Did Claude or GPT just get it right?
They were more consistent, but they were not perfect. In some cases, they just refused to answer. Now, in a scientific context, Refusing to rate a piece of fake science is actually the most defensible move. It is the AI saying, I cannot validate this because it is not based on real evidence.
Which is the correct move. But did that stay consistent?
No.
They saw that this refusal actually eroded in successor versions. As the models were updated, they became less likely to just say no and more likely to give a rating, even if it was a low one. The guardrails were shifting.
So, if I am a user, I am basically playing a game of Russian roulette with the truth. I do not know if I'm getting the raw model, the safe model, or the silently patched model that has been told to be edgy.
That is exactly the point. This is what the researchers call opaque epistemic mediation. It is a fancy way of saying that the process of deciding what is true is happening behind a curtain, and the people pulling the strings are not telling us how they are doing it.
It feels like we have moved from asking an encyclopedia for a fact to asking a corporate spokesperson for a talking point.
And that is the danger. When an AI assigns a high score to something, it creates a truth effect. Most people do not double-check the AI. They see a confident number like 75% credibility, and they think, oh, there must be some real evidence for this.
Right. It gives a veneer of scientific authority to things that are actually just designed to divide people.
Exactly. If the definition of truth can be changed by a silent software update or by switching from a website to an API, then we are not actually using these tools for knowledge.
So what is the fix? Do we need a public log of every single change to these models?
The authors argue that we need a whole new form of epistemic accountability. We cannot just treat AI as a product. We have to treat it as a piece of information infrastructure. If you change the settings on a bridge, you have to document it so it does not collapse. We need that same transparency for the settings that determine what the AI calls the truth.
Because if we do not, we are not interacting with an intelligence at all. We're just staring at a shifting algorithmic mirage.
If you are enjoying this, follow or subscribe to AI Paper Drop wherever you listen. It really helps, and we have a new episode every day.
Paper by Davide Scarso, Hugo Nerona de Almeida, Joaquim Pina, produced by AI Paper Drop.